You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
What's going on, Steelers Nation Radio, and welcome to The Drive here on the Steelers Audio Network. Matt Williamson and Wes Uhler with you here for the next 2 hours. Fired up, Matt. We had some
almost
football.
Justin Miller with us again. That guy can't get enough of The Drive. He misses us. We had to kick him out of here.
Old Drive producer Justin Miller, all excited to talk some football with the fellas, comes running in here. I mean, quite literally, as our intro bed was playing. You're a popular guy here around the iHeart Studios, Matt.
I don't think I have anything to do with it. I was kicking him out. I was the bouncer.
You were the bouncer. And you know what? This is going to be a poor transition, but let's get right into it.
Let's go.
The bouncer of the Pittsburgh Steelers is Cam Hayward.
He's the biggest stick in the locker room.
You see what I did there. And good news, no rest for Cam for a second consecutive day. Reminder for everybody who might have missed it or just needs refreshed. Thursday, Cam did not practice, but was clearly listed on the injury report as a veteran's rest day.
Right.
Back today for what is Friday, not as an intensive a practice, can a lot of times be more of a walkthrough, if you will.
Sure.
But Cam was back out there practicing today after getting a rest day yesterday. Again, we won't know until we know Sunday afternoon, but I think that's a pretty good sign.
I think it's a great sign. And I'm almost certain that he pretty much took every Thursday off last year, period. You know, I couldn't remember if it was a Wednesday or Thursday, but at least once a week, he's a DMP, basically. So this isn't news if there wasn't other stuff. You know, no one would even bring it up.
Sure.
I mean, if this was last year at this time, it would not even be discussed. Or if it was week 12, it wouldn't even be discussed. They absolutely need him. I mean, that goes without saying. I mean, he's a tremendous football player. But in this game in particular, when we start getting into things that could go off the rails for the Steelers or whatever, that's one of the areas I'm definitely focusing on. But this is good news, I think. I mean, I'm not avoiding it because we're on the Steelers Audio Network. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I'm sure he wants more money. I think he's got somewhat of a case. I think they say he's got a contract. He doesn't. Maybe he will get more money. They have a chunk of cap space. They could give him some now. Whatever. I honestly don't care that much.
That's not our realm, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you as well, too. All that matters to me is his status for Sunday, and I think all good indicators in that regard. And, Matt, let's jump into that, right? I think a kind of fun way.
Do we have any other injury news? I mean, Herbig or the injury report? I mean, is there anything else of note? I didn't see anything that worrisome.
Not anything worrisome. I think Herbig, again, too, is going to be, we're just going to have to wait and see.
I would think he's a game time.
Decision
okay,
type on Sunday. But other than that, right, as Mike Tomlin put it earlier in the week, relatively healthy group, which is certainly a good thing, and we hope that we're singing the same tune next week.
Sure.
Matt, let's get right into it. Friday shows, last shows before game days, right? I guess that fluctuates throughout the season. You know, sometimes it's a Monday, sometimes it's a Wednesday or a Thursday, depending on the schedule and all those different things. But I kind of like to go through how can they win? How can they lose for the Steelers and as it relates to their upcoming opponent? And I think this kind of directly ties to Cam Hayward, to that defense. To me, for the Steelers, and I don't mean to start out on the negative, but like I said, I think it just kind of transitions nicely. How they can lose is by letting the Jets run the football, control the clock, keeping that Steelers defense on the field, keeping Aaron Rodgers and company on the sideline. If the Jets rush for 125 yards or less, I think the Steelers have a great chance to win this game. 130 yards or less, great chance.
Yeah.
That number starts getting close to 140, 150, God forbid even higher. I think that's a way that the Steelers could find themselves on the losing end of things Sunday afternoon.
So if we plan on doing this every week, which I assume we will, I think we just need to get it out of the way now. Like, obviously, you could be like, well, if you turn the ball over 5 times or you get 3 kicks blocked. Or
your quarterback gets hurt on the second play of the game.
Yeah, say injuries galore, or they take a bazillion penalties, or you spit on the opposing quarterback before
we'll talk about that at some point today.
But I'm with you. There's 2 big things that stand out to me, and that's number one. And I like the way you phrased it. And again, Cam Hayward, even if he plays, I don't want him to play, start to finish.
No chance.
And I think that's asking too much. And I would kind of phrase it along the lines of, if the Jets can still be dedicated to the run game deep into this game, you could be in trouble. I mean, that means you've suffered a lot of body blows. They're still swinging and doing their style of play, and there's 8 minutes left, and it's a close game, and 4-yard runs are turned into 7-yard runs, and people got hand on their hips, and you're starting to look around like the tides are turning,
It's a very good point. I like the way you phrase that. If Justin Fields doesn't have to drop back and pass in the fourth quarter.
Right.
That could be
play
a way,
their game.
That could be a way that they could lose. Absolutely.
I mean, if you get those guys to, all right, you're down 14 and it's a drop back passing game, and of course he'll run out of drop back, but that's not what the Jets want to do at all. I mean, that's playing left-handed for them.
That is kind of a great kind of way to phrase it. If the Jets into the fourth quarter are still able to run the ball, still able to run the offense as they want to, patiently and methodically, that's
eating
probably
up clock like crazy.
Probably not a great
tick.
sign for the Steelers.
Yeah, then I think you're on the ropes.
How the Steelers win, though, Matt?
I got another lost one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I said there's two that are kind of standing out to me.
Other than the obvious, bunch of turnovers, bunch of sacks, bad special teams.
So I really think Sauce is going to spend a lot of time on DK. I mean, maybe almost exclusively. Now, no one does 100% anymore, but then they'll move him around. And I think I like DK, but I think he could easily lose that match. Like if we do the tail of the tape when it's over, we might be like, Sauce was the winner, and hopefully not by knockout. Hopefully at least it's close and it goes 12 rounds or whatever. Do I know that Austin and Wilson can beat other guys? I don't know. I mean, if you got to rely on them, I'm a little concerned,
Absolutely. And, that kind of, I think, parlays into the run game for the Steelers is going to be a massive indicator of who wins and loses. For both teams.
Yes,
whoever has the more successful rushing attack, run game on Sunday afternoon is going to have a leg up.
I wouldn't phrase it that way, and sorry to, jump on you there, but, the Jets could still be the better running team as long as the Steelers isn't horrible, and if they can be balanced, you know what I mean? I don't know that whoever runs the ball better wins. The Jets have to be the team to run the ball better for them to win. The Steelers don't, but it also can't be 2.9 yards. You're sitting there at halftime, 12 rushes for 40 yards. This isn't going anywhere. That would be a real bad sign.
That would absolutely be.
And that could happen. I don't think that's a crazy fictional novel that we're writing for that to happen. Quinn and Williams is blowing things up. Those linebackers are tackling everything. There's no holes.
I'm sure when we get to our matchup segments here on the other side, actually, there'll be plenty of conversation around Quinn and Williams. I think another indicator in this regard is going to be for the Steelers that first quarter start that we talked about so much yesterday.
I hate to see it.
How do you win this game?
Mm-hmm.
You're up by 4, up by 7 at the end of the first quarter, and the Jets already have to start getting away from their game plan.
Yeah.
How do you lose this game? You're down 3, you're down 4, you're down 6 at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, if it's even 7-3 at the quarter and you're losing, and it's like
they have
6 minutes of possession or something.
Still a ton of football left at that point, but the Jets have you right where they want you if that's the case. And then all of a sudden you kind of have to start changing and altering your game plan a little bit.
I keep using these boxing analogies, but if that were the case, it's like, all right, points to the Jets in round 1, points to the Jets in round 2. It's like, yeah, you can still knock them out. There's still a lot of, you're not a bloody mess. You don't look like Balboa against Creed yet, but that's the way it's starting to go. And then, I mean, we've talked about it all week, but I mean, the first quarter thing's terrible, but it's particularly bad for a team like the Jets or the Steelers in recent memory that you can't just say, hey, Josh Allen, just take it over. You know what I mean? We're just going to put everything into your basket. You got to play a certain way.
You absolutely do. And winning in the margins, kind of the final thing that, that I had to discuss here, if you will. Both of these teams, the tape is a tale of two different teams when it comes to their special teams from last year. Steelers, Chris Boswell made 97% of his kicks, I believe. Second best in the NFL, only behind McPherson from Tampa. It was the only one who was better. The only team that made a higher percentage of their field goals last year was Tampa, whereas I believe the Jets were dead last in the NFL.
I think
correct?
So. They were like 71% or something.
A vast difference between those two teams.
It's a lot of points for teams that don't score a ton of points and what's expected to be the lowest scoring game of the week. This game's not going to be 40-38.
I would be shocked. I would be shocked if we see like what we saw last night in Philadelphia with, what was it, 17-14 in the second quarter already.
Stopping anyone.
No one was stopping anyone. Yeah, I think this is going to be the opposite. And in those type of games, much like we saw from the Steelers opener last year down in Atlanta, where you scored 18 points all off the toe of Chris Boswell, special teams, and particularly the kickers, feel like a way that the Steelers get out of a stadium with the win.
Yeah.
Something that cost the Jets a lot last year. That, to me, is kind of the final piece of this opening week puzzle, is who has the more net positive special teams. Again, I think particularly the kicking game.
That's a great point. I'm glad you went down the special teams road. Now, I should know this, and Dale made fun of me all the time because I don't know kickers and punters around the league. I think the Jets have a new kicker this year.
They do.
Last.
Folk.
Okay.
Nick Folk.
Is he back? Okay.
Yes.
And he's okay.
He is also, though, a top 5 in terms of accuracy in the NFL over the last 2 seasons.
Okay. I don't know what his strengths and weaknesses are, but you would hope that they've addressed the kicker situation. I thought they had a new guy. And again, this is a different coaching staff, so it's hard to leave the sins of last year on this team. But they were also the most penalized team in the league. You talk about hidden yardage, missed field goals, and you'll get sick of me saying this, and you've heard me say it before. Missed field goals are a turnover.
It's like a turnover.
They are a turnover. You're handing the ball often at midfield to the opponent. What's the difference if you fumbled the play before and they fall on it? And penalized, hey, I mean, that hurt the Eagles bad last night. And a lot of penalties early in the season, too. A lot of sloppy play. And
That's always one of those things week one, right? It's just ball security and turnovers. How buttoned up are you? I mean, quite often in week one, at every level of football, Matt.
I'm sure, yeah.
Certainly in the NFL, but it's the same way in college. It's the same way if you're going out to Friday night lights in your local community tonight. At the beginning of the season, while everyone's trying to figure out how they're being coached, who fits where, exactly what they're being asked to do, and schematics and X's and O's and all of that, it can quite simply come down to who's more buttoned up.
Who made the most mistakes.
Who made the most mistakes, who made the least mistakes, more likely to win. And I
think snaps, or didn't Fields have a few fumbled snaps here?
He did. And there was the
I think he has a history.
There was the issue. Well, he was a turnover machine until those 6 games that he played with the Steelers last year. I mean, he had one of the highest turnover rates. There was the one.
He does have a fumbling history.
Correct.
And the Steelers are the best team in the league at getting the ball out.
Correct.
That's another note that we should have brought up earlier.
There was the one shotgun snap issue with him and Frazier last year in Indianapolis, if you remember at the end of the game.
I knew there was stuff. I couldn't remember. Yeah.
That's the one off the top of my head that I remember in those 6 games. And I'm not pinning that all on Fields certainly either. There was a clear miscommunication between him and Frazier there. But I'm sure that's one of the things that Aaron Glenn, the Jets have been, driving home with him of, hey, those 6 games that you played in Pittsburgh last year where you really took care of the ball and it was a much different story than your time in Chicago, that's one thing that we need to carry over.
You had a much better winning percentage when that happened than in your Bears days too, And obviously on the flip side, I'm sure Tomlin's saying the exact same thing. Like, hey, I love Justin. He was here, but we could get the ball out, Yes. We can force him into mistakes. I mean, I wasn't easy reeling him in,
Absolutely.
It's huge. Absolutely.
Let's get into some of those specific matchups when we return on the other side. Matt's got all the breakdowns on these matchups, baby. Some 5-star matchups here on a Friday.
There's some good one.
A
5-star.
That's what the Steelers like to say. It's a 5-star matchup because we're in it. Well, we'll have a little 5-star Friday for you when we return on the other side. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It's The Drive here on a Friday on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.
It's a 5-star matchup because we're in it.
5-star matchup! Anybody we play is a 5-star matchup because we in it!
Now I'm ready for some football. Matt Williamson, little Troy Polamalu, I believe the second one is the Shea Townsend, if I'm remembering correctly. It is always a 5-star matchup when the Steelers are in it. But man, Matt, and I don't know, maybe I'm just being hyperbolic because it's week 1 and I'm so excited to get back to it here. But it really does feel like there's some real meat on the bone as it relates to individual matchups
I agree.
In this game.
I 100% agree. I mean, say what you want about the Jets, but they have some stars. You know, I mean, they have some building blocks, some young guys. They just paid Wilson. They just played Sauce. Quinton Williams, a big-time player. You know, I mean, like, they got some dudes. I mean, the tackles are first-round picks. That's kind of fun. And so I think you could say that with probably almost any Jets game, that there's some pretty cool matchups for a lot of their games, you know?
Absolutely. Some big names on both of these rosters, on both sides of the ball. You mentioned Metcalf and Sauce in our opening segment there. Yeah. Is that kind of the highlighter?
That might be the headliner.
The headliner, right, on a – it's a good – you know, I mean, this is like Woodstock. Like, there's some big acts on there, but It's a
real big, and they both have the size too. I mean, like it's not like it's Denzel Ward, you know.
Right? Is this the Jimi Hendrix of the Woodstock lineup?
Yeah, maybe that's the last one that comes out.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you could. We'll talk about the other side of the ball too, but if it was a year ago and the Steelers only had Porter, well, you could argue is Porter versus Wilson or Metcalf versus Sauce the better battle. You know what I mean? Where this one, I don't know exactly how the Steelers will handle Wilson, but they have more options. The Jets with Sauce. So I don't know if I've said this throughout the week. I'm on so many outlets, to be honest with you. But the Lions, who this staff comes over from.
Yes.
And the head coach was defense coordinator in Detroit last year, for those that don't follow the Jets. And they were the heaviest man coverage defense in the league.
Okay. Where
the Jets, during Sauce's career, more zone heavy, a lot of off coverage from him. You won't find a lot of reps of Sauce, Mel Blunton on the playing press man, beating guys up at the line of scrimmage, but he's still really good at it. He's long, he can do everything. So they give him a huge contract, this staff. And the Jets also, Reed was a really good corner. He went to the Lions, coincidentally. They would left-right it through Sauce's career. So he didn't even follow. He was, the right corner, left corner, whatever, you know.
Sure.
And with a lot of off coverage, break on the ball, attack the ball in the air, really, really good at it. But I think they're planning on using him, taking it up a level, and the contract implies that, the Lions background implies that I think it's like, we're looking at you to deal with the DK Metcalfs of the world, as many snaps as possible.
To do Revis type things?
I think.
I mean, I'm not saying
I don't think he'll left-right
good,
it for sure, but right, you're right. I mean, I think he's a top 3 or 4 corner.
Agreed.
I mean, he's a really, really good player and one of their best assets. So, I mean, I'm not even certain DK wins that battle. You know what I mean? Like I said in the first segment, like that's going to be huge. I'm not sure what Vegas odds are on that boxing match right now, You
mentioned how you're on a bunch of different outlets, and I'm not on quite as many as you, but I do some different things as well. I was talking with our buddy Chad Tyson on DVE earlier, and he asked me, how concerned are you about the wide receiver 2 conversation that's been lingering? And I said more this week than I am in some other weeks. I said, because what happens if Sauce clearly wins that matchup against DK?
That's a great point. And again, it's like, okay, well, I don't need Roman Wilson to have, or Austin for that matter, to combine for 14 for 140, but I need you to make some plays. I mean, there's going to be third downs. I got to go your way or
Keep
whatever.
That secondary honest.
Absolutely. Or, hey, I would think that you're going to get a lot of man coverage as well. Are you big and physical enough to deal with it? And I mentioned their second corner that they lost Reed to the Lions, big money free agent guy, and they went out and they signed Brandon Stevens from the Ravens. So someone that the Steelers know well. He's a big physical guy. I don't think he's a particularly good player, but he's played a lot of man. He's got a lot of ability. And his issue is he doesn't play the ball or find the ball well in the air, so he gets beat a lot, but the first 9/10 of the route are pretty good. And at the end, it's like, I bet he's super frustrating for coaches. And sometimes guys never get that. Finding the ball in the air is tough, and getting your head around and having eyes, especially if you're playing man, but he is going to be bigger and more physical than Wilson and Austin.
And it's
a little frightening.
That can quite often be the advantage that you need in those type of matchups. That I think is certainly a headliner, certainly a great place to start.
Mm-hmm.
I also, man, though, I know that quickly, if we're going to stick with the Steelers offense, I'm sure Quinnen Williams
He's a stud.
Against the interior of that Steelers offensive line is a big – whoever wins that is going to be a big indicator to how things play out on Sunday.
Again, this was not the same staff as last year, so you don't know exactly usage, what their plans are. They don't tell us, But he's mostly a 3 technique. I mean, he's going to line up a lot on an outside shoulder of a guard. But I would bet that they move him from the outside shoulder of the left guard to the right outside shoulder of the right guard and everywhere in between. So I think he's right there with Cam Hayward as one of the best 5 defensive tackles in the league. And it can be easy to forget about him in those conversations because the team doesn't win any games. But the Jets defense has been pretty darn good for a while, and he's the straw that stirs the drink.
He's one of those guys to me that, he's not on national TV very often.
Right.
I know he plays in a big market, but he doesn't play for the Giants. He doesn't play for the Giants.
Right.
Because even the Giants defensive line and those guys get a lot more credit than he does, despite being a team that has not been very good the last few years as well, too. It's a very early test for those 3 guys on the interior.
Oh, yeah.
If you can perform against this guy, I like what you're going to do for the next 16 games.
Yeah.
That's not to say that if Quinnen Williams gets the best of that Steelers interior on Sunday, that means that they're going to be a disaster for 16 games either. But this is
that's a guy you double and
This is not Ohio State opening with Akron week 1. Like this is Ohio State and Texas. I mean, this is a big test right out of the chute.
And the other D tackles aren't exactly household names, but they did just trade for Phillips from the Vikes, who's a veteran power interior player that's tough to move. He'll complement Williams pretty well. And their edge guys are pretty good pass rushers too. Their defensive front is not bad, including their second level dudes who run real well too. Williams' brother, they make a lot of plays too. So this defense isn't bad.
No, they're not. And I mean, in fact, if you're listing the things that they did well last year, it's not a huge list, but you would probably start with that defense.
Yeah.
And you bring in Aaron Glenn. It is obviously game 1, so you hope that you're getting them at the right time where there's still some kinks and some rust to work out, but bringing in a defensive mind as well, too. I think by the end of the year, they could certainly be a top 10 defense.
I don't think that's crazy.
In the National Football League.
I don't know if he's calling plays or not. I bet he's not as a new head coach, but his influence, he was a very good play caller, varied things. I mean, you don't know exactly what you're getting from his Lions days, Yeah,
and I would expect that to continue.
And the Steelers have a lot of new bodies on offense.
Certainly.
You know what I mean? Right.
Certainly.
They've
got some rust and some kinks to work out as well,
Absolutely.
too. Particularly, I think, how they're going to use those 3 tight ends, the different skill sets, the different body types.
Mm-hmm.
What's it look like in 12 personnel? What's it look like in 13 personnel? Heck, what's it even look like in 11 personnel when there's only going to be 1 tight end out there? And how the Jets go about deploying their defense, base versus nickel versus what's it look like if it's Muth and Jonnu? What's it look like if it's Washington and Muth and et cetera? That to me is a real kind of chess matchup to watch as well too.
1,000%. And that one I'm kind of looking at with kind of a precursor of maybe these next 16 games after that, what does the league do against 13? Now, the Jets could be an outlier, and they might do something crazy like play dime or whatever, because of the way that they look at it. Who knows? But I am real curious of specifically those snaps when all 3 tight ends are on the field. It wouldn't shock me if you get base. Wouldn't shock me if you get nickel. Like, the league has changed a little bit in that it used to be when you come out in 12, 1 back, 2 tight ends, 2 receivers, you would almost always get base. 21 or 12 almost was always base. But the league as a whole, this is a very generic statement, it depends who you have, is now countering 12 much, much more with nickel. Because a lot of these tight ends aren't very good. They're more Jonnu than they are Darnell. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I'm going to have lighter linebackers. I'm going to put an extra safety on the field. Maybe I'll guard the Jonnus of the world or Kelce's of the world with a Ramsey type, or a big safety or something like that, as opposed to being real heavy. But 13's a different world. Like I don't think there's a blueprint for we're going to get a heavy dosage of 13. I always bring up the Ravens. The Ravens don't run much 13, but the Ravens throw crazy stuff at you. I mean, they're the number 1 12 personnel team in the league. But what's 12 with Ricard or 22 with Ricard? And oh, by the way, your back's 250 pounds going to the Hall of Fame too, and your quarterback is the best runner in the league too. Like, do we play nickel against this?
Good luck.
So, yeah, right.
Yeah,
I'm just going to pay attention to how the league responds to 13. Because the players are so different, too, to your point. All 3 of these tight ends are really different on purpose.
That's what makes it, and again, I know we talked about this earlier in the week, my kind of hope for that being the Steelers' matchup nightmare, their matchup card.
It could be their ace up the sleeve.
You just alluded to what that is for Baltimore. We all know for Cincinnati, it's Burrow and Chase and T and how they can just sling that thing all over the field. I hope the Steelers' kind of matchup nightmare for opposing defensive coordinators is how are they going to use those tight ends, how are they going to deploy them, and what are we going to look like when it's such and such on the field, so and so on the field.
So I'm sure most of our listeners are going to watch Bills Ravens on Sunday night.
Better.
You're out of your mind if you don't.
I'm racing home from the flight back from MetLife to catch the start of it.
So like Allen and Lamar are the headliners, of course. They may go down as all-time greats. I think they blow me away. But you'll see, if you pay attention to this game, Buffalo's going to come out with a 6th offensive lineman a lot. The Ravens are going to come out with a lot, not many wide receivers. Just put it that way. It's going to be Lamar, Henry, Ricard, Kolar, Likely, Andrews. You might just have Zay Flowers out there as the only receiver. Like, no one uses one receiver less than the Ravens. And these were like 2 of the best offenses in the league last year, if not the best, too, And there's different ways to do it.
A lot of ways to skin that cat. Certainly. Yeah. And that's what makes the intriguing from a defensive coordinator perspective. There's no easy way. There's no perfect way to go about defending all this. If there was, everybody would run that scheme. Everybody would do it that way.
And the other thing that's great about it too is, I say this every year, but especially once we get into the week 1's a little bit different. But when you only have 7 days to prepare, it really isn't 7 days for one thing. It's really only a couple practices. And it's just not as long of a prep week as you usually it's a lot of fans think. Right. We're going to need a lot of practice time against 13 personnel all week long trying to figure this stuff out, even if you only get it 12% of the time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I that's one of the things that there is less time in the week, certainly, than people realize.
Yeah. And there's definitely less time on the grass with helmets on than you think.
Especially once you get past week 1 and the schedules start to change, and Thursday night football and Monday night football and travel and all those different things. Last one from a Steelers offensive perspective to focus on with you, Matt. How about this Steelers run game? The running backs, in particular Jaylen Warren, against Williams and Sherwood and these off-ball linebackers of the Jets.
Yeah, they just are smaller, very active, good in coverage, free-flowing linebackers that make a lot of plays. And the coverage stuff's important. Quinton Williams' brother, Quinton Williams, is a really, really underrated player. It gets overshadowed by his brother. But I just am thinking of all the stretch outside zone stuff that the Steelers is just an Arthur Smith staple. You're not going to beat those guys to the edge very often, and you're going to have to get some big bodies, whether it's Washington, an O-lineman, covering those guys up downfield a little bit because they can make a lot of plays.
Whew.
There's a lot.
There's a lot, and that's just the Steelers' offensive side of the football.
Yeah.
Let's take a break here and,
cool.
and spin the block to the other side. That work for you?
Absolutely, bro.
I want to continue talking some matchups with you. We'll focus on them from a Steelers defensive perspective when we return on the other side to close down the first hour of The Drive. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson with you here on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Back on The Drive here as we are taking a look at some matchups between the Steelers and the Jets. Some 5-star matchups that are going to determine the outcome of this one. Of course, Sunday, 1 o'clock at MetLife Stadium. Matt, our last segment there, we focused on it more from a Steelers offensive perspective. Mm-hmm. If we spin that block, if we go to the other side of the football, what's the headliner matchup for you on the Steelers' defensive side of the ball?
I think there's a couple for sure. I mean, first of all, just Tomlin versus Fields. Like the familiarity and all that. One. I mean, we'll break them all down individually, but two really promising first-round tackles versus welcome to the NFL, TJ and Highsmith and maybe Herbig is a big one.
Godspeed, guys.
Is a big one. And the other one I think to me is Wilson versus what do they do with Wilson? There's a lot of options I want to dig into. We can even start there if you want.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so I would be shocked, again, new coaching staff, if we see a lot of 3 receiver sets from the Jets. And they used a lot last year. But that was Lazard and Adams. I was
going to say they had a
Wilson,
more talented group last year.
Rodgers was your quarterback. It wasn't Fields. They couldn't be any more different. So they did not use a lot of multiple tight end stuff in New York last year. But it's a whole new staff. They used a second-round pick on a tight end who's promising. I mean, Jason Taylor's kid, Woodland Hills, Jason Taylor. So I think you're also going to want to help those tackles. I think you're going to get bigger personnel than what the Jets played with last year. Where I'm going with this is I think the Steelers will be in their base defense with 4 defensive backs more than usual as a result, because they want to run the ball. I think you want to be heavier. You want a nose tackle on the field as opposed to an extra defensive back. Now, when they made the Ramsey trade, I was kind of uncertain who their 4 defensive backs going to be. And it sure seems like Thornhill won't be one of them. Ramsey will be the free. Elliott will be the strong. Porter and Slay on the outside. Cool. I think that's your best 4 guys. I'm a Thornhill fan, but those are your best 4 football players.
Certainly.
And Ramsey can do it. It's one of the beauties of him. However, I also thought back then when the deal happened, maybe you might tell Slay, we love you, but you're up in age, and we want you for 20 games. In those instances, what if we took a little off your plate? You know what I mean? Put Ramsey on the outside, Thornhill at free. So I thought those are the 2 options, of what group of 4 defensive backs could you put out there? And to me, those are the only 2 options that makes any sense. And I 100% believe them that Ramsey's never leaving the field. So he's either going to be the outside corner or he's going to be the free in 4 DB sets. Now, Tomlin, like I did a night show with Mike Pursuta last night, and he reminded me, he's like, Tomlin said, if someone's following around to number 1, it's Jalen. I love you, Darius.
Very clear.
I love you, Joey, but this is the alpha. This is Mel Blount. This is Woodson. This is our dude. And you definitely got that impression at camp. I mean, he carries a lot of weight. And there's only one guy to follow. So would it be Jalen?
How's that look if they're in base?
If they're going to be in base a lot,
majority of this game, sure.
Yeah. Do you want your best guy in deep middle, or is it the second scenario that I laid out there, or do you just trust the 3 of them and say we're not going to follow him with 1? We like all of these guys. If it was a year ago, I think Porter would follow him. It's not like this is crazy talk. Slay's done it a ton in his career. I know he's not as good a player now as he was on his best day, but he's done it a lot. Mm-hmm. And so maybe you just don't tip your hand, and wherever he lines up, we go that way, and Ramsey leans his direction over the top. You know what I mean? So I think that's really interesting. There's a lot of options.
Is that how you would go about it? Because I think you're right. I think that there is a chance that when the regular season's over and we have those 17 data points, this might be the game where we see the highest percentage of base from the Steelers.
Yeah, it very well could be.
Baltimore
could be,
but
right.
outside of the division, this feels like Buffalo.
They may lead the league in rushing attempts this year. New York.
They certainly could.
I bet they want to.
They certainly could.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see a lot of base against Buffalo. I think we'll see a lot of base against Detroit. But, But this could be the most that we see.
Yes.
So what's that look like with how you would want to deploy Jalen Ramsey specifically?
I think how I would do it, first of all, I meant to say this just a second ago. If whatever you're doing is not working through 2 quarters, we'll do something else. And
they were, right. As we talked about yesterday when we went through Matt's stats, that's one thing they did very well last year.
Yeah.
Best third quarter point differential in the league.
Yeah, right.
That means whatever
the adjustments during the game are good.
Whatever they were doing for those 15, 20 minutes during halftime was working.
Yeah. That's a great point. And even in game, boy, Wilson's tearing us up. You can't let him tear you up. I don't care what happens, but yes, he'll get some catches. But, like, I don't want to start DK Metcalf or Garrett Wilson in fantasy this week. I think both of them, I think, are in for long days, to be very honest with you. How I would handle it for this game, because most games I think I would have Thornhill as the guy on the sidelines with 4, just because I don't think he's as good at football as Slay. But in this game, I would sit Slay. And here's the reason, because I do think it's the first game that Ramsey's ever put a Steeler helmet on for real, you know. And I think it sends a message to everyone that you're going to follow Wilson, Jalen. And also, Thornhill's better against the run, as almost every safety is, than Slay is. You know, like so you know they're going to run the ball a ton. If one of them has to get Fields down or Breece Hall down 20 yards downfield, I trust the safety to do it more than the corner.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. That makes a ton of sense. And that is from aside from the obvious storylines of Aaron Rodgers against his old team, Justin Fields against his old team, new coach for the Jets. Like, there is a ton in this game. But that, I think, is the thing I'm most intrigued to see, is how they're going to deploy that secondary all year, but particularly against a Jets team that so clearly wants to run the ball,
right,
and so clearly has one receiver that can hurt you.
Yes. And I also think Ramsey's certainly better against the run than Slay as an outside corner. People don't think about corners in against the run. But it's a huge theme now. I mean, like, that's why the Mike Hiltons of the world are going away, because they just run Derrick Henry at him over and over. You know what I mean?
Exactly right. All right, talk to me about these Steelers edge rushers against those young bookend tackles for the Jets.
I think everyone knows what the edge rushers are all about. I mean, and I don't think Watt's going to move around much. Maybe he does a little, but it's 2 snaps a game. I mean, I think he's going to get Membo, and Fashanu's going to get Highsmith. Hopefully you mix in a lot of Herbig on throwing downs and maybe a little bit of Sawyer on, you know, heavy situations, you know. But I really like both these tackles. That's where I want to stress it, because I think everyone knows who the Steeler guys are at this point. Membo was my favorite offensive lineman in this draft. When the Browns, and I always like take an extra minute to throw an arrow at the Browns, but when they made
did fire you once upon a time.
When they made the Travis Hunter trade, I thought, that's smart. They can go build an offensive. They got all these picks, and I killed them after the draft because they drafted 0 offensive linemen. But I would have drafted Membo, not Mason Graham. That would have been my start. You know, like when the Browns were good is when their line was good. You know,
Nick Chubb running the ball, and
right.
Line.
No, those guards, and I mean they were a good physical group up front. So Membo, I adore, but he's also a little bit more of a boxier, get off the ball, blow your face off guy, than light on his feet, dancing bear protection dude. You know,
sure.
Fashanu's more that dude, but he's a little bit short-armed, which is like at this time, this time it would be 2 years ago. This time 2 years ago, if you would look at like draft lists, people talked about him like he could compete for being the first overall pick. Like This is a special offensive tackle at Penn State, and I'm sure a lot of Penn State fans remember him.
People were shocked when he came back for his senior year at Penn State.
Exactly,
shocked.
Right.
They were like, he's going to be a top 5 pick. What are you doing?
He's a no-brainer. And his tape's awesome, but he had a real rough day. I think it was against Sawyer, actually. He had a really bad day against Ohio State, and he goes to the combine, and his arms are a little short. I mean, I think he's going to be a really good left tackle, but that's basically his scouting report, too. He's a little bit more of a protection guy. Membo's a little bit more of a masher. I think that's a great place to start to rebuild your team, but the Steelers guys are better. You know what I mean?
Yes, they're more proven. They've got a lot of all pros and Pro Bowls between them. Yeah. But those are high pedigree guys that were drafted even higher than Broderick Jones and Troy Fautanu.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
That this is a real test for them out of the gate. And, you know, we talked about those sack numbers and how we want to see that rise for the Steelers this season. I think this is a good place to start.
Yeah,
against a guy like Fields that'll hold it a little bit too long, and against some wet behind the ears tackles. Yeah,
I mean, if this was a Jets keys, ball's got to come out, Justin. And if it doesn't, I know he's elusive and he's not easy to get on the ground, but they'll get to him. And Vera Tucker not being there doesn't help either.
It hurts.
It hurts bad. It's a big blow to what they want to do.
Let's talk about Justin Fields now. You said at the start of this segment, which I thought was funny, but It was very Moats-like. It reminded me of something he would have done. Justin Fields versus Mike Tomlin and Terrell Austin.
Yeah.
You know, like he loved to throw those kind of matchups in there. Not necessarily guys that are on the field against each other.
1,000%.
But players and coaches and
that
how they go about attacking him and trying to confuse him.
Yeah, and we'll see what they do. They might take the Lamar mush rush, keep him in the pocket. If we don't get sacks, so be it. But we just want him sitting there patting the ball, and maybe they'll take that approach. Now, one thing that Pursuit and I were talking about last night, too, is I don't think Steeler fans know, unless you watched him with the Bears, how good of a runner he really is. Rarely did they feature him that way, or rarely did he even get an opportunity to really open it up, because he can fly and is one of the best running quarterbacks that have ever lived, to be honest with you. And I don't think the Jets are going to hesitate one bit. I mean, they're going to
1,000-yard rush seasons.
Right. So obviously he presents a lot of problems on the ground. But through the air, he has a big arm, but he is very much a see it and throw it guy. You know, him and Rodgers couldn't be any more different in terms of anticipation, and his super high time to throw is a twofold thing. First of all, he's going to have some of the Lamar snaps where it's 5 seconds because he runs around and he's making plays behind the line of scrimmage. People can't get him on the ground. But more than anything, even if he had bad feet, he'd be a high time to throw guy, because he wait, see it, throw it. You know,
sure,
and that's a tough way to live. At Ohio State, you can do that when first-round picks are blocking for you and you're throwing to Marvin and JSN or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Or superstar recruit, you can do that because you get the biggest arm in Georgia. You know what I mean? Tough to pull it off here, you know?
It certainly is, against a group and a coaching staff that's familiar with you and what you do and your strengths and your weaknesses.
Yeah.
And
they know he doesn't like going to his stuff we would never even think of. He really doesn't like rolling to his left. Or, like I always think about when they used to play Mayfield twice a year. Mayfield had a terrible habit of anything went bad, he rolled right.
Yes,
and TJ would just sit there and be like, I know he's coming. Sam's causing problems over there.
Had that same issue.
Right. You know, Cam's causing problems over there. I don't have to rush upfield. He's going to come to me. Boom, done. You know, like you learn these guys pretty good.
And that one, I think it was the last time Baker Mayfield played against the Steelers at Heinz Field, and Cam Hayward, I mean, he had one of those remember me hits. I don't know if you remember that, but he about broke Baker Mayfield in half. Like, I almost felt bad for Baker Mayfield, how much he got just planted into the turf there at Acrisure Stadium. And yeah, that's a good way to kind of lay it out there, and some of those little things, those little nuances that you know about a quarterback that you spent a year with.
And of course, you ask Arthur Smith and the quarterback coach and all this, what'd you guys work on? I mean, not that Tomlin wouldn't know, but
Yeah, 100%. Last one here, Matt, is obviously the run defense is critical for the Steelers. Those defensive linemen, Cam Hayward, Keanu Benton, Y.A. Black, guys like Logan Lee and Aquale and Loudermilk, they're going to feature into this equation as well, too.
Mm-hmm.
Against a talented, obviously Justin Fields, as we just talked, but a talented tandem of running backs.
Yeah, I'm a big Breece Hall fan, and it sounds like his percentage touches and roll is going to decrease a little bit just because they're a big committee group. They seem to love Allen. I don't, but I see what they like about him. He's remarkably young. I mean, he came in the league like younger than Juju did, and he's a linebacker turned running back at Wisconsin, and he's big and he's fast, and that's a good combination, but I don't think he's got great vision, and I don't think he's a great all-around back, but they like him. He's big and fast. So they're all three of those guys, including Fields, are going to carry the ball a lot, by design. And this time of year, fatigue always worries you. I mean, for all 32 teams.
Totally.
Tackling always worries you. Run fits, things like that. Just physical nature of playing defense that you didn't do at Latrobe or very little in the preseason. And it's a tiny sample size. But that little that the ones played in Carolina, they didn't tackle very well. Yeah, they didn't.
They did not.
Yeah.
That's a good point, actually.
And these guys will take it to the house. These aren't Najee that if you miss a tackle, he ends up with 8 yards. It could be 60.
It could be see you later.
Yeah.
100%. That is, I think, the biggest game within the game is, the Steelers limiting the Jets' rushing attack and making them one-dimensional, and then letting all those Justin Fields things that we talked about bubble up to the surface.
Last thing on that, again, it's a Lions offensive staff, too, that they stole from Detroit. Now, I don't know what you can take out of that film, though, because Goff is not a runner. You know what I mean? Like, but they're a very diverse run scheme. They don't just run 2 or 3 run plays over and over. They throw a lot at you, and that was without a running quarterback. So what kind of run plays are you going to see? I don't know.
Some very interesting wrinkles, I think, to say the least. Hour in the books, another hour to go. We'll get into all kinds of NFL pick'em, Steelers predictions and picks on the other side. We do have to talk a little bit about, I don't know. They have is it Spitgate? Are they talking? Is there a name? Is there a name for last night now as well?
I heard them calling them CD lamb drops instead of lamb chops.
Oh,
that's not bad.
That's tough. That's tough. And we got a game tonight. All kinds of games this weekend to get into. Plenty to get to in hour number 2. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson. It is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Hour number 2 of The Drive. Just one more hour to go for this week before, well, I guess we'll turn our attention to some NFL action tonight. And then, of course, I
4 out of 5 nights.
I do love it. I can't say that I would be a proponent of the NFL having a game every Friday night.
I know.
But to start the season, I think it's pretty cool.
We've talked about this a bunch, about the schedule, what could be coming, but I think you might see a Tuesday,
totally.
a Wednesday,
Totally.
Not necessarily every night. I don't think it's going to be like baseball. You can just turn it on no matter what. But you might get a little more used to different nights of the week.
And I get it. It's business.
I get it.
It's business. In the NFL, business is booming.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch. Everyone's going to watch. But the dork in me, like the real as much as I love the NFL, and I realize I'm saying this on an NFL show on an NFL team's network.
Right.
But I also appreciate like the football pyramid of Friday night is high school football, Saturday is college football, Sunday is the NFL.
I do 100% too.
Yeah. Matt, we had a crazy one for a lot of different reasons last night in Philadelphia.
Yes.
Season opener between 2 division rivals, the Micah Parsons storyline, the Eagles raising their Super Bowl banner. Started out, with some controversy. With Jalen Carter being kicked out before the Eagles even took a defensive snap for spitting on Dak Prescott. And then, a couple hours later, the footage comes out of Dak kind of, I don't think it's fair to say spitting on Jalen Carter, but spitting in his direction as well,
I missed all that. Okay.
Did you miss that as well, too? Yeah.
That came out today or later last night?
That came out later last night after kind of, people went through and watched all the tape and everything. They kind of, had some words with each other, and they were
separated. That makes it a little better.
They were separated, and Dak kind of spit on the ground in Carter's direction.
In his general direction.
And he does not fart in his general direction. He spits in his general direction. I was wondering how long it was going to take you and I to get to a Monty Python reference. It's about time.
Long overdue.
And then Jalen Carter, does what you can't do.
Right.
The retaliation, that's what the refs always get. Man, I haven't seen, I can't remember a games. I know, Joey Porter and Willie Green and having a fight during warmups and getting tossed. Mm-hmm. But a spitting incident is that's just weird. There's no other way to put it than just weird.
And it's dumb and it's gross and
juvenile
all that stuff. Right. And you're not going to get away with it. Every camera in the world's on the biggest game of the year. And, oh, by the way, you're the best player on the defense. So I thought last night was super interesting. As every opening night is, because it's the first game, of course. But there were so many storylines. Like, before kickoff, we're talking Micah Parsons. Oh, well, it's a huge deal. That just basically happens. The biggest thing going on in the game, or in the league. And then that dumb thing happens. So the 2 best players on defense that could have been in this game aren't.
It's a great point.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that both offenses are just walking down the field any way they want with Carter in the locker room and Micah in Green Bay. And I thought that was a huge storyline. And CD Lamb's just ripping these guys apart. Everyone's going to kill CD Lamb today, but he was pretty awesome for a lot of that game.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Pickens is struggling. It looked like he got Mitchell a lot, and I thought that was a good plan by the Eagles. I thought both quarterbacks played really, really well. They're moving the football consistently. But then we get this weird weather delay.
Yeah, that was rough.
It's rough.
I'm not going to lie to you. I fell asleep on the couch during the weather delay.
Did you?
Found myself waking up in the wee hours of the morning.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
because then it was a lot different game after that.
It was just kind of a bizarre opener.
Yes.
In a lot of different regards. and Philadelphia comes out 24-20 as the home team often does in those. I know the circumstances obviously changed a lot, but I thought you and I were kind of in our synopsis of, I think we assumed that the Cowboys would cover and keep it close, but that the Eagles would kind of be in the driver's seat the whole game as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's how it played out.
Yeah, but I think Eagles took some body blows there early on and had to be – it was far from locked up by the time that the rain fell. Not even close.
Absolutely.
And I think they were a little concerned, especially with Carter not out there. I thought Hurts played a whale of a game. And if you ever box score scout, if you look at the two quarterback stat lines, you're like, man, those guys struggled. Defense ruled the day. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Pickens, no one even hardly caught a ball between the three of them. And then Lamb has a ton of drops at the end. It's probably like, man, but that wasn't the story of the game so much. I mean, I heard today, and it adds up just watching the TV feed, they didn't play one snap of man coverage against Hurts. It was all zone.
Wow.
Take away the big stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He had a lot of underneath throws to Goddard.
A lot of 7-8 yard runs.
Yeah. Okay, if you're going to give me something, I'll just use my legs. Or I thought he played a very mature, patient game and keeps getting better. I can be a little harsh on Hurts when we do like quarterback lists and things like that. And
he's so unique to me.
Yeah, and because his situation's so good, there's that argument that, what if you put Justin Herbert in Philly? He'd be really good too. Yeah, he would, but it doesn't mean Hurts is bad. He keeps getting better and better and better.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
And listen, he's not for everybody. He would not fit on. He would not fit on every roster. But the dude just knows how to win within the confines of the system and what he's asked to do.
Yes.
And he's impressive. He is, because it's not the drop back and pick you apart. It is so
but he was
different.
Decent at that. I mean, he's okay. You're just gonna play zone and take away the big stuff. I'm not gonna chuck it to A.J. Brown. I'll dump it to Dallas Goedert and move the chains. And I should know this, but I forget who the color guy was last night. But it's always the same one.
It was Collinsworth,
right?
It
was Collinsworth, I think. Yep. Yeah. And he said a quarterback's job is converting third downs and converting in the red zone. Well, he's like as good as anyone at it.
Yeah.
I mean, he does that.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of Chris Collinsworth and the color commentator on last night's game, I did want to give a shout out to our guy Max Starks, who is, I know he worked the 3 preseason games, but he's going to be moving into the booth for the first regular season game with Rob King. I'm excited to listen to those guys. I mean, I sit in the booth with them every single game. It was a blast to work with Billy Hillgrove for a few years, and now Kinger is, as you know, just great and fits in very well with our crew. And then, just the lineage of Tunch and Wolf and now Max.
Those guys are missed, obviously. All right,
hugely so. And I had a couple moments during the preseason where I got a little jammed up thinking about those guys. I'm sure Sunday I probably will again. The home opener probably will again.
Yeah.
When you and I are in Dublin having a pint or a couple pints,
maybe more than one,
I'll be thinking of those guys. But a really cool. On Steelers.com, on the Steelers YouTube channel, they have that series called The Steelers Standard.
Yeah.
That our guy Alec Balenciaga does and with a lot of help from people like TV and everybody else on the Steelers video crew. Really cool long-form storytelling that the Steelers do, and some really cool stuff focusing on Max moving into the booth, how he preps.
I plan on watching it this weekend.
He preps for games and everything. So make sure you're checking that out. Like I said, Steelers.com and on the Steelers YouTube page as well too. Matt, tonight's game.
Real quick on tonight's game.
Yeah, absolutely.
On one of my other networks, we were kind of talking about this too. Like weird games. Like when you deal with a delay like last night,
things get weird.
It's weird. I think playing in Brazil is extremely weird. The playing surface is supposedly a lot different than what you get here. It's a weird road trip. It's going to be a weird crowd. I guess there's some altitude. I'm not a geography major. I mean, it's a weird place to play football.
There's definitely it's mile high type.
Yes. Yeah. So where I'm going with this is I think that when you really deal with weirdness, it really favors teams like the Eagles and Chiefs that like play in the Super Bowl every year, which is the weirdest game ever. You know what I mean? Like we're used to weirdness, right? Yeah. I mean,
longer
the media
halftime
events and every eye in the world's looking at you, just like these two games. So I think that that's an advantage. Last night, post delay, and tonight in a weird spot for the teams that play these kind of games a lot.
That's a good scout's eye there from Matt Williamson. That's a great point. The weirdness, the more you get into the playoffs and playing on different days, and like you mentioned, the Super Bowl, all the time off and the media stuff and the travel and you're not just going the day before the game. You're spending more time there in that city. That's a very good point by you. Matt, before we get back into this, I did want to, just coming across the timeline now, is the Steelers' final practice injury report from today. Derek Harmon officially ruled out.
Sure.
I mean, Mike Tomlin said that on Tuesday, but now it's officially official.
We can start talking about how many games it's going to be, but we knew it was going to be at least one.
Exactly right, and I'm sure we will discuss that last week. Cam Hayward, full participant today in practice.
Great.
Good news there. Nick Herbig, for the third straight day, a limited participant.
That screams game time.
His game status officially listed as questionable.
Okay.
And then added to the injury.
Real quick on Herbig.
Yeah.
I think he's a great player, but run defense isn't his specialty either. I know it's not working out this way, but if it was 50-50 on Cam, I'd be like, play Cam. If it's 50-50 on Herbig, I'd be like, maybe wait a week. Because I don't know that his specialty on third downs, rush the passer, is as required this week as most.
If you're playing the Bengals, different story.
And
you might even feel more comfortable with Jack Sawyer in a matchup like this, where you think that's more tailored to his skill set.
Yeah,
as well,
if you want to give Highsmith a little bit of a blow or whatever, Jack, you play first downs, and we'll bring Highsmith out this series on passing downs.
And a new addition to the injury report. Skylar Thompson he was limited today and is listed as questionable with a hamstring injury.
He's going to be inactive either way.
I think he's going to be inactive either way, so that one not a huge needle mover, but I wanted to obviously make sure, since it's on the practice report and on the injury report, that we share that with you. So that's the latest on that front. Why don't you say you want to take a break here? We'll get back into we'll go across the gambit of these NFL
these last
games.
two segments, we got a lot to do.
Let's do some pick'em, some quick discussion on all of these Week 1 games. Obviously, ending with our thoughts, our picks, our predictions for the Steelers and the Jets. We'll get into all of that, what's going to happen at MetLife, what's going to happen across the league when we return on the other side. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It is The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Now it's starting to feel real, Matt. We got a game in the books. We got another one tonight, and we are finally going to sit here and go through this Week 1 slate across the NFL.
Yeah, I love it.
Me as well. I'm excited. And I mentioned in the last segment, I love the football pyramid. And I know high school football has been back for a couple weeks. College football has been back for a couple weeks. But it really feels like, all right, Labor Day's in the books. Now it's go time.
Oh yeah,
it's
for
NFL
the next time.
For the next
dominate,
5 months, this is our life, and
it's a really good slate of games too.
It's a very good one.
Yeah.
I feel like they always try and do that Week 1, but this year especially,
stands out.
There's some juicy
Sunday night's Allen versus Lamar. Yeah,
two big divisional matchups Thursday, Friday
right
off
the bat.
Started.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Steelers and Jets storylines of the first time in NFL history. Quarterbacks both facing their former team in Week 1.
That's crazy.
Just a lot to like about this slate. We're going to go through and pick them. We will save our Steelers thoughts and predictions, obviously, till the final segment. But Matt, we'll start with tonight. Chiefs, Chargers, Kansas City, 3.5-point favorites.
Last I saw it was 3. And it was one of my favorites at 3. Still is. I'm a big Chiefs believer here. I'm kind of just have this hunch that Mahomes is ready to kind of show the world that he's still the number 1 quarterback. Mahomes and Reed rarely lose division games. They know their division extremely well. The weirdness we talked about before, I think, favors the Chiefs that have done a lot of weird stuff. And I mean, like, is Taylor going to be there? I mean, like, it's used to all the spotlight and all this, that kind of thing. But more so, Andy Reid, when he has a long time to prepare, is
good luck.
Really, really good. Yeah.
I have tried to talk myself into the Chargers tonight. Oh, Jim Harbaugh played those guys more than most in the preseason, and they're going to be fresher, and it means more to them, right? Hey, Chiefs, maybe still a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover. Maybe it'll take them a little bit to warm up to it this season.
You're not there.
Like I said to you, I think when we were doing the AFC tiers of teams earlier in the week, I'm just going to continue to bet on the Chiefs until proven wrong.
Yeah.
Because why would you? I mean, it's like you're shooting yourself in the foot trying to come up with reasons as to why they're going to lose a game or take a step back.
Like their O-line is getting totally reshaped in Kansas City, but I don't think that the Chargers front it's not like playing the Steelers front. You know, I think you can withstand that. And just want to throw this out there. You and I have had a lot of one-score game conversations. Mahomes is 17-0 in the last 17 one-score games. That's insanity.
And Kansas City's record last year in those was like 10-0.
Right.
9-0 or 10-0 or something.
There's an
ridiculous.
art to winning close games. So if this is a 3 or 4 point game, I'm taking the Chiefs.
The one thing that gives me pause is the 3.5.
I don't love that. There was 3 this morning.
I could very easily see Kansas City kicks a last-minute field goal to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they did a lot of that last year.
Of course. They don't blow people out. That's a common misconception.
They don't. They really don't. They win a lot of close games. Again, 9 or 10-0 in those one-score games last year, I believe it was.
I was a lot more comfortable with where I got it this morning than at 3.5.
At 3, I'm absolutely taking the Chiefs. At 3.5, I'm going to get on my app and I'm going to buy the extra half point back down to 3.
Maybe pay attention between now and kickoff.
But I think we both like the Chiefs to cover.
Yes.
On to Sunday. Arizona Cardinals in New Orleans. Arizona a 6.5 point favorite.
Seems about right. It's not one of my favorites. I'm going to take the home dog though, and I don't think the Saints are great, but I think Kellen Moore's a good coach. I think they can keep it close. It's going to be a tough environment to play. Arizona to me isn't over the hump as they're going the right direction, but they're still a upstart group.
This is an interesting one. Like, you ever do survivor pool stuff?
It's funny. Yesterday I got in my first one ever officially.
Okay.
And I'll tell you the game when we get to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do one with my family.
Okay.
And this was one of the things I had in my notes today was like, if we need extra, I can tend to be a little over-prepared.
Mm-hmm.
And just personality trait, whatever.
Yeah.
So I'll always have a rough outline of like what we're going to talk about. But then I'll have 1 or 2 things of, if these conversations go faster and you need to cover an extra 4 minutes, go to this.
Okay.
Survivor pool was, who would your survivor pool pick be week 1?
Okay.
Was one of my, so I guess we'll get to yours in a second.
I'll reveal it when it comes around, yeah. Did you go with the Cardinals?
Mine might be the Cardinals.
It's one of the bigger spreads.
But I think the Saints cover.
I do too.
I like the Cardinals to win, but I like New Orleans to keep it 6 points or closer.
Yeah, it's not my favorite. There's like 4 or 5 I like this week. This isn't one of them, but I'm predicting the same thing as you. Cardinals win, but it'll be a tight game.
Certainly going to be a tight game in Indianapolis, where the Colts host the Dolphins. 1.5 point. 1.5 point favorites are the Colts. They're laying 1.5 points.
I think Miami wins.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Quarterback play better.
Yes. I like Miami early in the year, especially in Miami in the heat.
You've talked about this.
I always talk about them they need dump trucks, not Ferraris. They got enough Ferraris. But week 1 in a dome, Ferraris work well. And that coach always has some tricks some mad scientist stuff that he's been working on that no one's seen. And I do think Miami's got a lot of concerns, but I think their defensive line's really good, and Kenneth Grant's looked really good. And the Colts have a good O-line, but they got 2 new starters, and I don't trust their quarterback. I think Miami wins that game on the road. So if you're going to give me points, sign me up. That's one of my faves.
That's the old Mike Pursuta. Always take the points, right?
Always take the points.
Even if you like the underdog, don't be prideful and I'm going to take a money line. Mm-hmm. Just put more money on the points to get that number to where you want it to be.
Yeah, he's coached me up on that a few times.
The Dolphins in domes and, like you said, in the early season in the heat, they just know how to win.
They're a speed-based team, right?
They got a lot of Lamborghinis and Ferraris, and those work in nice weather and those work in domes. Whereas the Colts are trying to work in a new quarterback, a lot of new pieces on that offense. I'm going to take the 1.5, but I think the Dolphins win straight up as well, too. I'm with you on that. The Raiders in New England. I almost said first time. They're not. First game with their new teams. First season with their new franchises, head coaches, and Pete Carroll and Mike Vrabel.
They got a lot of wins under their belts already.
A lot of accomplishments between those two, certainly. The Patriots at home, 2.5 point favorites over the Raiders.
I think I just want points in this game. I think because they're sort of in a lot of the same rebuild area with a similar coach. I think it's going to be close. So I'll take points.
You'll take Raiders plus 2.5, you're saying?
Yeah, I don't know who wins, but if you're going to give me points, I'll take the points.
I like the Raiders to win.
Okay.
I think they're a little bit – I know they're kind of hit a reset button in a way as well, too. But I think they've just got more proven. They've got a Max Crosby on defense.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they've got a guy like Brock Bowers who is one of the best tight ends in the NFL already. And in terms of if I'm taking one to start a team, I'm going to go Drake May. Mm-hmm. I think he has a crazy high ceiling. But if I need to win a game on Sunday, I'm taking Geno. So, yeah, this is another one where, despite being an underdog, I'd like the Raiders to win. I will take the points, though, because, Mike Pursuta will yell at me if I don't. Raiders plus 2.5.
Christian Gonzalez isn't going to play. He's one of the best corners in the league. I assume he'd end up on Myers a fair amount, but it doesn't help,
Doesn't help. Be interested to see what Jacoby Myers, production and performance looks like in that one.
Especially with Amari Cooper retiring yesterday after being on the team 10 days.
A lot going on there in Vegas, both on and off the field, as always. A NFC East clash. We saw one of those last night. We'll see another one on Sunday as the Commanders host the Giants. Another one of the bigger spreads of the week here. The Commanders 5.5-point favorites.
The Giants keep it close. I went to points in this one.
Yeah?
I'm a little down on Washington. I'm a little higher than most on the Giants. I don't think the Giants' record will reflect it when it's all said and done because they play a lot of really, really tough games. But I think their D-line is a nightmare to play against. And the biggest concern with me of the Giants is their O-line. But I don't think Washington's fronts can really take advantage of that very much. Now, I might regret it, and Jaden Daniels might put up 50 points in this game. I mean, they're capable. But I'll take the points in a division game.
I'm going to lay the points.
Okay.
I'll lay the 5.5 and take the Commanders. I think you make some very good points there, and that Giants defense could just do enough to make it a rock fight and keep it close. And a type of game where maybe it never really feels like the Commanders are in danger of losing, but they don't pull away at the same time either. But now that the Terry McLaurin thing has been settled for a couple weeks, like I just think the Commanders are going to be able to put up some points in that one. And I don't know if I don't think they blow them out and win by 2 touchdowns or something like that. But I think they could win by 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh, I can see it. It's not one of my favorites.
I'll lay the 5.5 with Washington.
I do think Washington's going to be one of the best offenses in the league.
They should be.
And I think that's one of the best defenses in the league in New York.
They certainly should be one of the best defensive fronts in New York. That's for sure. Down in Jacksonville, going to be a hot one as the Jags host the Panthers. And Jacksonville in the first game of the Liam Cohen era down there, a 3.5-point favorite at home.
Another one I don't feel super strong about. I don't know that the heat's going to bother Carolina as much as some teams. But still, it's a long day in Jacksonville in the sun, and that's not a lot of fun. I'm taking the home team, but I'm a little wishy-washy on it. Laying the points. This
is another one of those I wish was Jacksonville 3-point favorites, 2.5-point favorites. But I'm going to lean on what I think is a better roster in Jacksonville, what I think is a better quarterback in Jacksonville, what I think is potentially a better head coach in Jacksonville, although it is his first go at it.
I think those receivers will have big days against a bad defense.
Yes, that Carolina defense is going to struggle, and I think Jacksonville will put up some points and cover that 3.5. A very intriguing one in the AFC North. In Cleveland, Bengals at the Browns, the Battle of Ohio there, a game that has gone the Browns' way, I think way more often than people realize or think lately. Cincinnati 5.5-point favorites on the road.
Another one I don't feel super strong about. I think the Browns could hang around.
I thought this might be your survivor pool pick.
No, I am taking the Bengals. I would give up the points, but I don't adore it. I just think the Bengals defense is bad.
So you're going to lay the points with Cincinnati? Or
I'll take Cincy
minus 5.5?
-5.5. Yeah.
That's where I'm at, too. And I agree. I think the Bengals defense is going to be bad. But I don't think the Browns offense has any real elements that scare you.
I know.
And I just, for whatever reason, everyone, Cincinnati has been a hugely popular pick in the survivor pool.
Oh, are they? I guess that makes sense. Just bet against the Browns.
Betting against the Browns, but a lot of people have pushed back on that and saying, well, Cincinnati always, in the last 5 years, they're 1-9 in their first 10 games. They went about things very differently this year, though.
I think that's noteworthy,
They played those guys a lot in the preseason. I think that's going to lead to a little bit of a faster start for the offense. I don't think Cleveland's going to be able to keep a lid on that for 60 minutes. I'll lay the 5.5 and take the Browns minus the points as well.
Okay. I'm just betting on Burrow.
That's never a terrible option.
No,
either.
it's not the worst idea.
A NFC South clash down in Atlanta, where the Steelers opened their season last year, against the defending division champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa 1.5-point favorite on the road. Surprised. I know they've got their struggles, and I know a lot of people are high on the Falcons. I'm surprised that number's only 1.5, though.
Yeah, that shocks me too.
Thought it'd be more 2.5, 3, 3.5.
I think that's going to be a really difficult place to play. Super loud. They're super excited about Penix, that fan base. They're not the craziest fan base in the world, but I do think you're going to get them on a good day. I still think that number is too low. I mean, Tampa's a battle-tested team. They've played a lot of big games, don't have a ton of turnover. I think they win that game by more than a field goal. I
would take Tampa probably. I would lay the points up to 3.5, maybe even 4.
Yeah, I don't know
Tampa.
why it's so low.
And I get it's week 1. The games are always closer. The scoring's always lower. All that stuff. But
I mean, I get like Godwin and Wirfs are out, and that's fine. But it's okay.
A Tampa team that's largely familiar with each other. You know, hasn't had a ton of turnover or anything like that. They obviously lost Liam Cohen, their offensive coordinator, but the Falcons are really kind of, you know, starting from a place of a lot of unknown as well, too.
Yeah, I don't trust Atlanta all that much.
Yeah, I think we could be singing a different tune about them if the offense develops, but that's going to take some time.
Yeah.
I
got to see it first.
That's maybe the easiest pick of the week for me is laying
really?
1.5.
Yeah, it's a familiar place to.
I might lay 3.5 or 4 points on Tampa and still feel confident in it.
I can see that.
A lot of division clashes to open up the season. We'll go out west now to the NFC West. Up in Seattle, where another one of these good NFL rivalries, the Niners are at the Seahawks, and San Francisco on the road, 1.5 favorite.
Before I saw any of the lines, I just told myself, I'm taking whoever's getting points in this game.
Okay.
I think it should be a very close battle. Seattle comes here next week, right? Yeah. We'll talk a lot of Seattle going forward, but I think they have a great defense, and I think it's going to be a close, low-scoring game, so I just want points. And if I can get it home, great, you know.
Real quick, when you said Seattle coming here, that reminded me, I meant to bring this up when we were talking about the Raiders-Patriots game.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about, like, outliers for certain coaches and quarterbacks and one-score games and all those different things.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll's record when he was the head coach of the Seahawks on the East Coast was insanely good.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
Most of the times, those West Coast teams, when they come to the East Coast to play 1 o'clock games, they win like 20% of the time.
Bad, right.
Pete Carroll won like 75% of the time when he was the Seahawks coach playing a 1 o'clock game on the East Coast.
Okay.
I know Vegas isn't quite as far out as Seattle, but it's still coming from the West Coast to an East Coast team 1 o'clock. Meant to bring that up when we were talking about
Carroll.
His record when he takes a West Coast team to the East Coast for a 1 o'clock game is a complete opposite of what the trend is. Yes. I think your logic is sound here. I don't love the Christian McCaffrey news that has come out with the Niners.
Yeah. I took him in the first round of one of my fantasy drafts, right?
I don't love the fact that they're going on the road with, as you brought up earlier in the week, 4 or 5 rookie defensive starters for San Francisco. I'm going to take the points with Seattle. I'm going to take Seattle plus 1.5.
Yeah, I just think their defense is going to keeps this game real close.
And I also I got to disagree with you on some things here. And some of the, we're back on YouTube now. Some of the people in the YouTube comments are saying I agree with you too often. Well, how about that? We're changing that up now. The Broncos in the biggest spread of the week.
This is my eliminator pick.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a really good one.
They never lose in the first 2 weeks of the year at home.
Except for when the Steelers went there last year. But they had a rookie quarterback and a lot going on.
It's an awful place to play when you're not in 100%
If you're Cam
condition,
Ward, man, this is such a tough task.
I know.
Not only in that environment mile high, which is very difficult all the time, but especially in the early season when it's hot too.
It was the best defense in the league last year.
And it's probably going to be one of the best 2, 3, 4 defenses in the league again this year.
And I really like Ridley. Like, I targeted him a lot in fantasy. But he's going to get Surtain all day long, and I don't see other receivers that can do much. I'm excited about Ward. It's just a really nasty challenge. And I think Peyton will just run the ball, play small ball, beat you up with short throws to Knicks. Now, I don't love the number. It's 8.5, right?
8.5.
But for eliminator, that's my favorite. I think Denver wins and controls the game. I think I'll lay the points. I mean, I feel confident they're going to win, so I'll lay the points. But that's a lot in week 1.
So, you and I have laughed at some of the different quirks that you and Dale had, the different things that Moats and I had on when we did the Blitz together. One of the Moatsisms, if you will, was he was like, I'm never laying more than a touchdown in the National Football League. It's just
I can see a player.
I will never lay more than 7 points in the National Football League. I don't care how bad the team is, how good the team is. You just the vast majority of games are 1-score games. 8.5 is a big number,
It's
man.
a big number.
It's a big number. Again, especially for week 1 when offenses typically aren't clicking like they are.
Like, I don't think Tennessee's going to be the worst team in the league again,
I think the Titans find a way to cover.
Okay.
Even
I don't love the number.
Even if it's a late kind of backdoor, they score a meaningless garbage time touchdown at the end to lose by 7 instead of 14. I'm just very rarely going to lay 8.5 points. I'll take them and take the Titans plus 8.5.
Ward might bring them back against the prevent defense. Whatever, you know what I mean.
A NFC North clash with early division title ramifications. The Packers hosting the Lions. Green Bay 1.5-point favorites at Lambeau.
So this one and Bills Ravens to me are just
awesome.
Just get your popcorn ready. I don't want to pick it. I'm super psyched about watching the game. What'd you say the line was here? It's in Green Bay.
Green Bay is a 1.5 favorite, so they're laying a 1.5.
It's a total coin flip to me. I don't feel strong about either. I kind of told myself I was going to take the home team in this one, so I'll take the home team.
The Lions lost so much.
I know.
But they have just had
They're
the Packers. Good. They have had the Packers number.
Man. Yeah, I don't love picking this one or the night game.
This is one of those if I'm actually one of you degenerates out there that's gonna, put some shillings on this, I would stay away.
Oh, me too.
Now go Pack. I'm gonna take the Packers with you though. At home, new season. Who knows what Micah Parsons' status is or how much he plays.
I'm sure he'll play a lot and play well.
That's the way I'm leaning, and if he does, I think that's definitely the difference to Tilden and Green Bay's advantage. I'll take the Packers minus 1.5 as well, too. Out in Los Angeles, the Rams against the Texans. I mean, again, dude, so many good games.
So many good games.
2 playoff teams from last year, 2 teams that fancy themselves as playoff teams again this year, certainly. Rams, 3.5-point favorites at home.
This is one of my favorites. I'm definitely taking Houston with the points. I think they win. I don't feel super strong about that, but I think both defensive lines rule the day. And that Houston O-line is a work in progress, to be kind. And Jared Verse and company are a real handful. But the Houston D-line is nasty. I mean, if anyone has better edge rushers than the Steelers, it's probably the Texans or now Green Bay. And I know Stafford's playing, but that doesn't mean the back isn't an issue. Their secondary is really good to deal with Adams and Nakua. I like the Texans to win this game. So if you're going to give me points, I don't think it's the hardest place in the world to play. There's probably some Texans fans there. You're going to give me over 3 points in this one. I'm real happy about that.
It's a no-brainer.
What do you think?
I'm shocked. If the Rams were 1.5-point favorites,
yeah.
Okay, they're the home team. It's week 1, all that stuff. 3.5, no way. And
it just seems like a lot.
If you tell me the Rams find a way to win, it's like on a last-second field goal and they win by 3. That seems like a lot.
Yeah.
I
seems a little disrespectful to a Texans team. It's won a lot of games lately.
Lately and been to the playoffs. And as you mentioned, they're not going to Lambeau Field. They're not going to Lincoln Financial in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't see an answer for Nico Collins. Yeah, I mean, that secondary's not great.
That's a pretty easy one for me, Houston plus 3.5.
That's one of my faves, yeah.
I thought that number was going to move like crazy. Like, I thought it would be.
Has it been like that all week?
Yeah.
Really?
I thought it would move down, closer to LA plus 1, because I thought people would they'd see that and they'd hammer Houston.
Yeah.
And that's
apparently not.
Apparently not. Sunday night, Matthew, as we wrap this thing up, because we'll save Monday Night Football for Monday.
Yeah, let's do that tomorrow.
Correct?
Or next time we get back.
Yeah. Sunday Night Football, perhaps in a week full of juicy. I mean, these are like ribeye matchups here in week 1. But this is like the dry aged ribeye with the extra crab on top and the good.
This is a pricey meal here.
Good sauce. This is like what we run up the bill when we go to the Combine and those steakhouses in Indianapolis. Bills at home hosting the Ravens. Baltimore favorites by 1.5 on the road in Buffalo.
Which I understand. I think they're the slightly better team. You know, like if we're power ranking teams, I would have the Ravens maybe number 1 in the whole league, to be honest with you. But I would have them ahead of the Bills slightly. But Bills would be far behind. This one I told myself, whoever's getting points, I'm taking.
You've been telling yourself a lot that
yeah,
a lot
like
this
if you're going
week,
to give me 1.5 or whatever it was, and Josh Allen at home, that's enough for me. You know?
No,
that place is going to be bonkers.
Last home opener ever for that stadium.
Oh, I didn't think of that. Okay.
And Ravens have a little bit of that revenge factor from last year, certainly. But there's just this kind of weird, like love triangle is not the term that I'm looking for, but it's like the top that AFC pecking order, it feels like certain teams just have the other's number.
Oh, the rock, paper, scissors thing.
The rock, paper, scissors thing. For now, I think Buffalo has Baltimore's number.
Mm-hmm.
And with them being at home, yeah, I'm going to take plus 1.5. I think Buffalo wins a close one, but I'll take the 1.5.
So if you're going to give me points and Josh Allen at home against anyone, I will take that right now.
It is very telling with, I think, how close a lot of these matchups are projected to be. How many of these, at least half of these, felt like 1.5 point spreads.
I know.
There were not
many big ones.
Not as many 2.5, 3.5, 4.5 as you usually get.
There weren't a lot of obvious eliminator picks.
Not a lot of obvious eliminator picks as well, too. As much as Broncos and Titans feels like it could be lopsided. Even that one. It's week 1. Crazy things can happen. Cam Ward has himself a game out there. But yeah,
there's a big Steeler Bengal contingency, right?
I would think so. That's what I got from ours at least, and I see that one too. I do. Except for like Cleveland has had a weird way of biting the Bengals when
still a division game on the road.
It. Yeah,
right.
Division game on the road, crazy things.
Yeah,
certainly.
I don't love putting my first bet down on a road team in a division game.
It's tough. That's tough. And if Cincinnati ends up, being all right this year, then you're kind of prevented from taking them the rest of the year. Yeah. You always kind of have to look at that as well too.
I think that's why people like the Cards too.
What are matchups that exactly get it out of the way?
Yeah.
Take the Cardinals and get it out of the way.
But that was slam dunk either.
No, it's not. But that was kind of my logic behind it as well.
I get it.
One more segment to go on the other side. We will give our Steelers and Jets predictions and thoughts before we get out of here. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson. It's The Drive on Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Congratulations, you made it, folks. Last segment of the week. That means last segment for us and our Steelers Nation radio programming before the ball will be kicked off in the air. Yeah, we've got the pregame show and all those things on DVE that Matt is a part of. Mike Pursuta, Jerry Dulac, Bob Labriola, the whole cast.
9 a.m. with Tom.
Characters, and it's been a lot of fun. I'm not just saying this because you're both my buddies and I like you both and everything, but I enjoy, like right around the time that Dan Quinlan and I get to the booth and get set up. We get there about 4.5, 5 hours early. But by the time we get set up, is about 4 hours-ish before the game, which is right when you and Tom are going on. And so I'll go to the cafeteria there. I'll get myself a plate of food.
Okay.
The hay is in the barn at that point, kind of, you know what I mean? And I can put my feet up and eat a meal and listen to you and Tom do the pregame show. It's been fun. You guys have some good chemistry, and we'll be looking forward to that with you guys getting regular season proceedings underway for us starting 9 a.m. with the pregame show on your flagship of the Black and Gold 102.5 DVE. And then, of course, Pursuta, Dulac, Labs at 11 o'clock for the 2-hour pregame show leading up to that 1 o'clock kickoff.
And I joined those guys, too, about an hour before kickoff.
Matt Williamson is busy on game days, folks, I tell you. As there will be plenty of pregame and, of course, a fun, intriguing start to the season for the Steelers in New Jersey. That's one of the other Arthur Moats things you better not ever call. You better not ever say New York about the Giants and the Jets. It's in New Jersey, all right? All their stuff's in New Jersey.
I understand, but that's the title of the franchise.
There's only one team that plays in New York. That's the Buffalo Bills.
I got you. Okay. I guess he's a former Bill. So yeah.
Sunday at MetLife in New Jersey, the New York Jets hosting the Steelers. Pittsburgh, a 2.5-point favorite, Matt. And this by far, too, the lowest over-under of the week in the NFL, just 37.5 points. Let's start there. Over-under 37.5 points.
It's funny you do this because I always screw it up. Dales makes fun of me all the time. My Pitt Johnstown math. I have a what's the number again?
37.5.
I'm under.
Okay.
I'm not going to divulge my score, but I had to add it up in my head there, and I'm under.
Ooh, that's a good call. I can do the same thing. I'm also under.
Okay. Take it away. What's your prediction?
My prediction is 16-13 Steelers.
Ooh, okay. I'm similar, but if we're under, I figured you would be. Okay.
1 touchdown and 3 Chris Boswell field goals. And for New York, 1 touchdown and 2 Nick Folk field goals.
Okay.
You're
pretty specific on that. Okay. I like it.
I just think I think that the spread is about right on this one. You know, I see the Steelers winning by 3 or 4 points.
Mm-hmm.
I think there'll be some squirmy moments. There'll be some squeaky moments for Steelers fans. They'll have the butt clenched from time to time.
Yeah.
But I do think the Steelers, just talent-wise, continuity-wise, and I know they've got a lot of new pieces on that offense and defense, but I think that they have more of a mantra of how they're going to play and how they're going to win. I like Pittsburgh 16-13. It'll be a rock fight. It won't be pretty, but we'll be flying back for the home opener with the first win in the books.
For a lot of the similar reasons, and this happens a lot in the last segment of the week, is you talk about a game all week, you kind of get the idea what your co-host is thinking too. You know, I have the Steelers winning 17-16. One thing we haven't noticed is, one thing we haven't brought up is Tomlin on opening day is very, very good. I don't think that's an accident. Yeah, I mean, I think he knows how to prepare his team. Now, he didn't play his starters as much as usual, but I also think he's got a really good pulse for where his franchise is no matter what. And the Jets have a first-time head coach, which I have a hard time betting on. I mean, especially first game ever. You know, when do I call timeouts? You know, just all the logistics of it all can get screwy. Younger quarterback. But I think there will be Steeler fans on Monday that aren't thrilled with the offensive performance.
I would almost guarantee
I don't think it's going to be a great running game. I think Metcalf's in for a long day. And I could see a lot of 3-and-outs and a lot of punts and rust, call it whatever you want, or concern. But I think the Steeler D is set up real well. And I'm assuming Cam Hayward plays. I think the pass rush will be dominant. I can't see Wilson beating them. And I think you sell out to stop the run a lot with a deep front 7 that you just keep rotating them through. And that gets a win. It might not be pretty. I don't think it's going to be pretty.
I would bank on it not being. But I think the Steelers defense, much like we saw in the opener against Atlanta last year.
Yeah.
You had a new head coach, a new quarterback with that team in Kirk Cousins.
Yep.
Like, the Steelers defense was the difference, and all you needed was 18 points.
Mm-hmm.
6 Chris Boswell field goals.
I trust the Steelers special teams more too.
Even with the addition of Nick Folk, who's been good over the last 2 years, I still trust the Steelers special teams more. All right, I'm going to let a Hail Mary get in here at the last second from Jeff on Twitter. Okay? He says Steelers 23, Jets 17, but he wants some quick over and unders from us on these. DK Metcalf over under 7.5 receptions.
Under.
I agree. Aaron Rodgers over under 170 yards passing.
Over.
Slightly over.
Yeah, I think he gets to 200-ish.
TJ Watt over under 2.5 sacks.
Under. That's a
huge
number.
Big number. Yeah.
Jets don't plan on throwing. They will, but they don't plan on throwing a lot.
I think that's an easy under. Jalen Warren over under 85 yards rushing.
Under. I can see 85 all-purpose yards. I mean, I do think he's going to get the bulk of the carries.
I do too.
I don't think that's a crazy number.
I think that's a good number. I think he better at least be close to that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Johnson's going to play a ton.
I don't either.
Yeah.
And I think Gainwell will be situationally.
I don't think he'll get many carries. I mean, he might be out there, but he won't get many carries.
If the Steelers are playing with a lead most of the game, I don't think we'll see a ton of Gainwell.
No, I tend to agree.
I
think Warren gets.
If they're chasing it, we'll definitely see Gainwell.
Warren might get his highest percentage of snaps of the year here. So I'm kind of talking myself into the over because I think they're going to. Quarterback's not going to run for anything. I think they run for about 100 yards. You know,
it's a good number. 85 is a good number. I think that's right in about the range.
Yeah.
Matt, fun stuff this week, man, and I'm excited to really get into the flow of it here. That we'll be breaking down games and previewing games now every single week. Going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
Thanks to Matt for co-hosting. Thanks to our guy TV in here for putting all the YouTube stuff together for us. If you are, we have a hype rally show as well too, Matt. I wanted to make sure to plug this. I got the name of it written down here. But if you're going to be in the area, Saturday night in Jersey City, what's the name of it here? Oh, for crying out loud. Wicked Wolf Tavern. 6:30 to 8:30.
You're going to be there, right?
Rob King, Missy Matthews, myself will be doing the show for 2 hours.
Yeah, nice.
Hanging out. We also, at some point, are going to be joined by a Steelers legend, Super Bowl champion, Hall of Famer, who played for both the Steelers and the Jets. Big Red Alan Faneca.
I should have got that. I'm sitting here thinking Santonio Holmes, James Ferrier, but I'm like, they didn't go to the Hall of Fame. They had great careers, but okay, that's a good one.
So an opportunity to come out for a little Road Warriors party and listen to some more of your favorite Steelers audio network personalities as well, too. But that will do it for us this week. We'll be back with you, as always, to break it all down on Monday. You know where to find us. It's on your 24/7 home of the black and gold, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.
Steelers football happens here. The Pittsburgh Steelers Audio Network.